Good evening, students. Okay. So in the last class, we were discussing about the potential energy of a single charge and system of two charges, and also about the electric dipole placed in an external electric field. I hope that topics are clear, right? Now we can move to the next topic, that is electrostatics of conductors. So the next topic, electrostatics of conductors. Write the next heading, electrostatics of conductors. So before moving to this topic, we can just recall what you mean by conductors. Gayatri?
They allow the passage of electricity through them.
That's very good. Conductors are the substances which allow the electricity to pass through them. So because due to the presence of free electrons in the conductors, which is allow the electricity to pass through them. Okay. Now under this topic, electrostatic of conductors, we need to discuss the 6 results, the 6 points you need to study, and we can prove these 6 points of the electrostatics of conductors. Okay. So these are the 6 points that you need to remember while studying the electrostatics of conductors. First one is electrostatic field is zero inside a conductor. This is the first result of electrostatics of conductors. Electrostatic field is zero inside a conductor. You only need to write the first point. After explain it, we can discuss the second point. So the first result of electrostatics of conductors, electrostatic field is zero inside a conductor. Electrostatic field is zero inside a conductor. Okay, now we can prove this. So in order to prove this, consider two plates. So our statement is this, the electrostatic field is zero inside a conductor. To prove this, we can consider two plates. One is positive charge plate and other is a negatively charged plate. Okay. And here the electric field lines are originating from the positive charge and it is terminating towards the negative charge. So the electrostatic field inside a conductor is zero. In order to prove this, we are considering the two plates. One is a positive charge plate and other is a negative charged plate. The electric field lines are originating from the positive side and it is terminating to the negative side. Now we can consider a conductor. Now we are considering a conductor and we place a conductor inside this electric field. I take a conductor and place it inside this electric field between these two plates. Okay. We know that the conductors consisting of both positive and negative charges, consisting of both positive and negative charges. But when I am placing this conductor inside this plate or inside this electric field between this plate, what happens is that the positive and negative charges inside this conductor, that is the positive charges due to the presence of protons and negative charges due to the presence of electrons. So when I am placing this conductor with the protons and electrons inside this electric field between these two plates, what happens is that due to this presence of positive charged plate and negative charged plate, these positive and negative charge inside the conductor arrange themselves in a particular manner. It is just like this. That is, the positive charges are accumulated towards the negative side of the plate. Due to the presence of positive and negative charged plates. The positive charges are arranged or they are accumulated themselves nearer to the negative charged plates, and negative charges are accumulated to this side. Okay. And thereby inducing another electric field. Here the direction of the electric field is from here to here, because the electric field is always pointing from positive to negative side. So here we have two electric field. Due to the presence of these two charged plates, we have one electric field, that is E1. And due to the presence of this conductor that we are placed inside this electric field between these two plates, we have another electric field E2. Then what is the net electric field here? That is the total electric field. Actually, according to the superposition principle, it becomes E1 plus E2. But what is the direction of the electric field E1 and E2? Both of them are along the same direction or just opposite direction? What about the direction of the electric field E2 here?
Right to left.
The direction of the electric field E2 is from right to left. And what about the direction of the electric field E1? It is from left to right, right? So both these two electric fields are cancels each other. So when we are adding the total electric field, we have E1 plus E2. But here E1 is along the left to right. Then it becomes E1, and E2 is just opposite direction to that of the E1. Then it is becomes E1 minus E2, or the total electric field is becomes equal to 0. So hence we prove. So this is our first statement. The electrostatic field inside a conductor is 0. In order to prove this, we are considering the two plates. One is positively charged plate and other is a negative charged plate. And we draw the electric field lines for this charged plate. Inside this plate, we are placing a conductor. When we place the conductor, the protons and electrons inside this conductor arranged in a manner that the negative charges are arranged or accumulated towards the positive charged plate, and the positive charges or the protons are accumulated themselves nearer to the negative end of the plate. And the electric fields, both of them have just opposite direction, so they will cancel each other. So the net electric field inside a conductor is said to be 0. Is it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we can check the second result of this electrostatics of conductors. So the first one is over. The second one, electrostatic field lines are normal to the surface at every point in a charged conductor. Electrostatic field lines are normal to the surface at every point in a charged conductor. Electrostatic field lines are normal to the surface at every point in a charged conductor. So according to this statement, we want to prove that the electric field lines are perpendicular to the surface of a charged conductor. The electric field lines are perpendicular to the surface of a charged conductor. Now we can prove this. Okay. For that, we are consider another plane sheet. And suppose here we are considering an electric field lines which is directed towards a particular direction. It is neither towards perpendicular. For example, if this is the direction of the electric field E, okay, this is the direction of the electric field E. It is inclined to this plane sheet at an angle theta. So this direction or this electric field is resolved into two components. One is E tangential and other is E normal. We don't know what about the direction of the electric field line towards the surface of a charged conductor. Suppose this is our charged conductor. And we draw a particular direction for this electric field. It is directed towards like this. Since it is inclined at the surface of this conductor, we resolve this electric field E into two components. One is the tangential component and other is the normal component or perpendicular component. Okay. So we just take the contradictory statement, that is, if E tangential component is present here, if the electric field is tangential to the surface of this conductor, then what happens? This tangential component exerts some force on this charged conductor. Due to this force, the electrons are started to flow through this conductor. Due to the presence of this tangential component of this electric field, the electrons are started to flow through this conductor. If the electrons are started to flow, which means that the electricities are also moving through the conductor, and it is just opposite to that of the conductor. But in a static condition, if it is possible, the flowing of electrons takes place. Static condition means the conductors are in a stationary state. Static means stationary. That is, these electrons are flowing through this conductor as long as only the tangential component is present. Whenever this tangential component is finished, the flowing of electrons are also stops and the flowing of the electricity is finished. Then only one component is present here. What is that? E normal, that is E perpendicular. So we can say under the static condition, the electric field lines are always perpendicular to the surface of the conductor. Under the static condition, there is no flowing of electrons that takes place. That is, the tangential component is absent. In that case, only the normal component of the electric field is present. So we can say that under static condition, that is what is we are discussing here, electrostatics of conductors. Under the static condition, the electric field lines are said to be normal to the surface of a conductor. Clear? So in order to prove this, we are considering a charged plate and we consider an electric field lines which is directed in towards any direction. Since it is inclined towards the surface of the conductor, we resolved it into two components. One is E tangential and E normal. If E tangential component is present, it exerts some force on this charged conductor. As a result, the flowing of charges takes place and also the flowing of current is also takes place through this charged plate. But under the static condition, it is not takes place. That is, under the static condition, the tangential component is absent. Only the normal component is present and this electric field is perpendicular to the surface of a charged plate. This is the second result of the electrostatics of conductors. Now we can explain the third one, the third statement. What about the third result of electrostatic of conductors? In static condition, interior of the conductor contains no excess charge. In static condition, interior of the conductor contains no excess charge. So this is the third result of the electrostatics of conductor. In static condition, interior of the conductor contains no excess charge. Okay, now we can prove this. So this is our statement. In static condition, interior of the conductor contains no excess charge. So we can prove this with the help of the first statement. What is the first result of the electrostatics of conductor? What is the first result of electrostatic of conductor? Yes, the electric field is zero inside the conductor. Interior of a conductor, the electric field is zero. Right? Inside a conductor, the E is equal to 0. That is our first statement that we are made here. The first result of the electrostatics of conductor. If it is a conductor, inside the conductor, the electric field E is equal to 0, right? If the electric field E is equal to 0, it's very clear that there is no charge is present there. If and only if there is a charge, then only the region of space around the charge we can call it as an electric field. Then only the electric field lines are originating from positive and negative charge. Positive and it is terminating at the negative charge. But here, from the first result of the electrostatic, we were already discussed that inside the electric field, that is inside the conductor, the electric field is equal to 0. So if the electric field is equal to 0 inside a conductor, then we can simply prove that there is no charge is present inside the conductor. The charges are only distributed on the surface, not the inside of the conductor. The charges are only distributed on the surface of the conductor. No charge is distributed inside the conductor. If there is any charge is presented inside the conductor, for example, if it is negative or positive charges are present, then what happens? There must be an electric field is there. It is directed from positive to negative. But from the very first result of the electrostatic of conductor, we prove that inside the conductor, the electric field E is equal to 0. There is no electric field is present inside the conductor. From that, we can conclude that there is no charge is present inside the conductor. Clear? If there is a charge is there, there must be an electric field is present inside the conductor. But the electric field inside the conductor is 0, which implies that the charge is present inside the conductor. There is no charge is present inside the conductor. The charges are distributed only to the surface of the conductor. Okay. Actually, this is a theory portion. There is no need to derive anything. Now, the fourth result of electrostatics of conductor, constant electrostatic potential throughout the volume of the conductor. Electrostatic potential is constant. Electrostatic potential is constant throughout the volume of the conductor. Electrostatic potential is constant throughout the volume of the conductor. That is, the V is said to be a constant throughout the volume of the conductor. Electrostatic potential throughout the volume of the conductor is a constant. Okay, now we can prove this statement. The electrostatic potential. What do you mean by electrostatic potential? Can anyone recall what do you mean by electrostatic potential? S.
Can you tell that point again?
This result, the last one that we were discussed.
Yes, ma'am.
The electrostatic potential is constant throughout the volume of the conductor. Electrostatic potential is constant throughout the volume of the conductor. Okay. So before explaining or before proving this, can you recall what do you mean by electrostatic potential? What do you mean by electrostatic potential? Yes, Vidur. What do you mean by electrostatic potential?
It is the work done to bring that unit test charge from infinity to a point in the electric field.
That's very good. It is the work done to bring a charge from infinity to a particular point, P, to the electric field. Okay. So now we can prove that is the electrostatic potential is a constant throughout the volume of the conductor. For that, we are considering a conductor. For that, we can consider a conductor. Okay. Suppose this is our conductor. Here, we know that inside the conductor, what about the electric field? Inside the conductor, what about the electric field? What is the value of the electric field inside the conductor? According to your
Zero.
first result. Yes, very good. E is equal to 0. Inside the conductor, the electric field E is equal to 0. Now, suppose if we are considering the 2 points inside the conductor, then the work done to bring a charge from one point to another point is also 0, because here there is no electric field is present. So the work done to bring a charge from one point to another point inside the conductor is also equal to 0, since there is no electric field is present here. Okay. Now suppose we can consider the 2 points on the surface of the conductor. We can consider the 2 points on the surface of the conductor. Name it as AB. Here the electric field is present. And what is the direction of the electric field here? What is the direction of the electric field here? The electric field, here this is the electric field. This electric field is perpendicular to the surface of the conductor, right? So here we need to do a work in order to bring a charge from point A to point B. And that work done can be calculated by W is equal to F dot D. That is W is equal to FD cos theta. But here the angle between the electric field and that of the surface of the conductor is 90 degree. That is theta is equal to 90 degree. Then what is the work done? W is equal to FD cos 90, right? W is equal to FD cos 90. What is cos 90? What is the value of cos 90?
0.
0. The value of cos 90 is equal to 0. Then what about the work done here? Work done is equal to 0. So if anywhere, if you are placing the object or if you are placing any point inside the conductor or surface, whatever it may be, the work done to carry the charges becomes 0, which means that the potential is said to be a constant throughout the volume of the conductor. The potential is said to be a constant throughout the volume of the conductor. This is the another result of electrostatics of conductor. If you are consider any 2 points inside the conductor, since there is no electric field is present there, so the work done is equal to 0. So similarly, if you are consider any 2 points on the surface of the conductor, here the electric field is perpendicular to the surface, then theta becomes equal to 90 degrees. So cos 90 is equal to 0. So the work done to bring a charge from one point to another point is 0, which means that the potential is remains a constant everywhere throughout the volume of the conductor. I will give you the notes later. So you just understand now what about the electrostatics of the conductor. Now we can discuss the next result of electrostatics of conductors. That is, the electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is equal to E equal to sigma by epsilon 0. The electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is given by E is equal to sigma divided by epsilon 0. What is sigma? What is sigma? Yes.
Surface charge density.
Surface charge density. Very good. What is epsilon 0?
Permittivity of the space.
Very good. Epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space. So the fifth result of electrostatics of conductors is that electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is given by E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. Now we can see its result. For that, again, we are considering a conductor. So we, according to our first result, what is the value of E? What is the
Zero.
value of E? Yes, E is equal to 0. And what about the direction of the electric field to this surface of a charged conductor? Yes, Say it louder, it's right.
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular. The direction of the electric field is perpendicular to the surface of a conductor. So we were already discussed these two cases of the electrostatic of conductors. That is, the value of the electric field is equal to 0 inside a conductor, and the direction of this electric field is perpendicular to the surface of a conductor. Now, according to our fifth result, this direction of the electric field is given by E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0, where sigma is the surface charge density and epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space. Where sigma is the surface charge density and epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. Okay, now we can prove this. In order to prove this, we can consider a plate, a positive charged plate. From this positive charged plate, the electric field lines are radially outwards. Now, in order to prove this, the electric field is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. We want to consider a Gaussian surface. And what is the special feature of this Gaussian surface? What is the speciality of a Gaussian surface? Is it is open or enclosed surface? Yes, Sania.
Enclosed surface.
Yes. So here we need to consider a Gaussian surface, and the Gaussian surface must be enclosed. So we consider a Gaussian surface that is enclosing this electric field lines. By enclosing this electric field lines. So what about the Gaussian surface here? It is in cylindrical in nature, right? When we are considering the Gaussian surface, it is cylindrical in nature. Okay. Then how many faces are there for this Gaussian surface? How many faces are there? For this Gaussian surface, how many faces are there?
3, ma'am.
Yes, 3 faces. There are 2 end faces and 1 curved faces are there, right? But here the charges are distributed on the surface of the conductor. We can write the expression for the surface charge density. It is given by sigma is equal to Q by A. Here the charges are distributed along the surface. We can say sigma is equal to Q by A. And when you observe this Gaussian surface, you can find that the half portion of the Gaussian surface is inside the conductor, that is inside the plate, and the other half is outside the plate, right? And here we have the 3 faces for the Gaussian surface, 2 end face and 1 curved face. But since the charges are distributed on the surface of the plate, we can write sigma is equal to Q by A. Now we can apply the Gauss's law. According to Gauss's law, what is the equation for flux, electric flux phi? According to Gauss's law, what is the equation for electric flux phi? Phi is equal to Q by epsilon 0. The electric flux is given by the Gauss's law. It is the Q times the 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface, right? Or here the charge is surface charge, so we can write phi is equal to sigma A divided by epsilon 0. This is our equation number 1. Now we can apply the equation for electric flux to each surface of this Gaussian surface. First of all, I applying this, the portion, the end phase that is inside this electric plate. So what about the electric flux equation? We studied another equation for electric flux. E is equal to, sorry, phi is equal to E dot A. Did you remember that equation for electric flux? And for the end phase, for this end phase, which is at inside of this conductor, what about the value of the electric field? E is equal to 0, right? Here E is equal to 0 for the Gaussian surface, which is at inside of this plate. So we can say in this case, the phi is equal to 0. We can name it as phi 1. The curved face, it is phi 2, and this end face, it is phi 3. Okay. So for an end face at the inside of a charged plate, since E is equal to 0, that is the electric field inside the conductor is equal to 0, the electric flux phi 1 is equal to 0. Now we can consider the electric flux for a curved surface. The electric flux for a curved surface, that is phi 2, it is also given by E dot A. E dot A is equal to EA cos theta. And here, what is the direction of the electric field? Electric field is along this direction. But the direction of the area vector, it is this direction, normal to the surface. And the angle between them is 90 degree. So that is given by EA cos 90. EA cos 90. That is, we are considering a small area from the curved surface. Here the area vector is pointing this direction and the electric field is in this direction. So the angle between them is perpendicular, normal to that angle, that is theta is equal to 90 degree. Here theta is equal to 90 degree. So cos theta, that is cos 90 is equal to 0. So here also the electric flux due to the curved surface is given as 0. Now we can check the electric flux for the third end phase. The electric flux for the third end phase, that is phi 3. Again, the electric flux can be calculated by E dot A. E dot A. Here the electric field is pointing in this direction. Area vector is also pointing along the same direction. So what about the angle between them? Theta is equal to 0. So here phi 3 equal to E dot A. That is phi 3 is equal to EA cos theta. What about the third surface? In this third surface, both the electric field and that of the area vector are along the same direction. That is theta is equal to 0 degree. Okay. Then phi 3 is equal to EA cos 0. That is equal to EA. Because cos 0 is equal to 1. So the electric flux phi 3 is equal to EA. Okay, this is our equation number 3. We can put equation number 3. So here we have two values for phi. According to Gauss's law, phi is equal to sigma A by epsilon 0. And according to this equation, we can name it as equation 2. Equation 2. And here we have another value for the phi. Phi is equal to EA. That is, the total phi is becomes equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Okay, phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. What about this end phase? The phi 1 is equal to 0. And for a curved phase, here also the phi 2 is equal to 0. And plus for the third phase, the phi 3 is equal to EA. So here the total electric flux phi is equal to EA. This is our equation number 2. Okay. Now when we are comparing the equation 1 and 2, the LHS is same. Both are phi, the electric flux phi. So we can equate equation 1 and 2. So this is our equation number 2, that is phi is equal to EA. This is our equation number 2. Here both the LHS are equal. So we can write EA is equal to sigma A divided by epsilon 0. EA is equal to sigma A divided by epsilon 0. Here we can cancel A, and finally we get E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. Hence we prove. So the electric field which is inside a conductor is equal to 0 and it is normal to the surface of a charged conductor. And the value of this electric field is given by sigma by epsilon 0. In order to prove this, we are consider a charged sheet, a positively charged plate. From this positively charged plate, the electric field lines are radially outwards. And by enclosing them, we are considering a Gaussian surface. Then for this Gaussian surface is in the form of a cylinder. For a cylinder, we have three faces, two end face and one curved face. And here, according to Gauss's law, we know that the electric flux phi is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed by the surface. That is, phi is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 into Q. But here the Q is due to the surface charge density because here the charges are distributed on the surface. That is, Q is equal to sigma A. Q is equal to sigma A. That is the charge distributed on the surface per unit area. So Q is equal to sigma A divided by epsilon 0. Then we are finding the electric flux for the three faces of the Gaussian surface in order to satisfy whether it is satisfied with this Gauss's law. We want to calculate the electric flux for these three phases. So for the first phase, the electric flux phi1 is equal to 0 because here the electric field E is equal to 0. So E dot A becomes equal to 0. For the second case, it is a curved phase. Here the electric field and that of the area vector, they are perpendicular. So the angle between them is 90 degree. Cos 90 is equal to 0. So the phi 2 is also equal to 0. Now we are considering the phi 3. That is the third surface. Here we have E dot A that is equal to EA cos theta. Here again we have cos theta. And here the electric field and that of the area vector is along the same direction. So theta is equal to 0. So cos 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, the phi 3 is equal to EA. Now, in order to get the total electric flux, we just add phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. That is phi is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Phi 1 plus phi 2, they are both of them are 0 and phi 3 is EA. So phi is equal to EA. Then we equate equation 1 and 2 and cancels the area vector term. We get E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. Hence it is proved. Clear? Okay. Now we can move to the last result of this electrostatic of conductors. The last one is about the electrostatic shielding. The last one is electrostatic shielding. The last one is about the electrostatic shielding. Okay. Now about the electrostatic shielding, did you see the motherboard of the computer? Did you see the motherboard of the computer? It consisting of some small components are present in this motherboard in the form of capacitors, resistors, ICs, and all. And when we are applying some kind of strong electric field on this small components, what happens? The electric field of the small components are becomes damaged, or this small components are gets damaged. The electric field of the small components are become destroyed, and the electric components are gets damaged. So we need to protect these sensitive electric components present in the motherboards. Okay. So in electronics, in order to protect this sensitive components, we do a method. That method is known as electrostatic shielding. So what do you mean by electrostatic shielding? In order to protect the sensitive components in an electrical circuit, we do a method. That method is known as electrostatic shielding. And this electrostatic shielding is introduced by a scientist. Do you know him? Michael? It was introduced by Sir Michael Faraday. Okay. It was introduced by Michael Faraday. Okay. Michael, please switch on your video. So the electrostatic shielding was introduced by Sir Michael Faraday. And this arrangement is known as Faraday's cage. This arrangement is known as Faraday's cage. I will show this. Okay. So this is what is about the Faraday's cage. Actually, he consider a cage-like structure, and this cage-like structure is made up of some kind of conductors. So this cage-like structures or this cavity is made up of some kind of conductors. And what is the speciality of this cage-like structures? The inside portion of this cage-like structure is a hollow. It is a hollow part. That is, the electric field inside this hollow part is zero. The electric field inside this hollow part is zero. So when we are applying a strong electric field, if it is in the form of a lightning or any other strong electric field is present on this surface, it is effect only on the surface of the conductor. It is not effect to the person who is standing inside the cage, because inside the cage, we are considering it is a hollow like structure. So here inside here E is equal to 0. There is no effect of any charge inside this hollow like structure. So did you heard that during the lightning, it is better to see, it is better to sit inside this bus or like that? Because it is because of this. During the lightning accommodated, we are accompanied by a thunderstorm. It is always safer to sit inside a bus than in an open ground under a tree. Why? Because the metal body of the bus provides an electrostatic shielding since the electric field inside is zero. So the metal body of the bus is act like a cage. So inside this metal body, it is in the form of a hollow part. Inside that hollow part, the E is equal to 0. Inside the hollow part, the electric field is equal to 0. So inside the cavity, E is equal to 0. So during the lightning and it is accompanied by thunder, it is safer to sit inside a bus than sitting under a tree. Okay, because the metal body of the bus provides an electrostatic shielding since the electric field inside is 0. So during the lightning, the charges flows through the body of the conductor to the ground with no effect on the person inside that bus. So this is about the electrostatic shielding. It is an arrangement to protect the sensitive components in an electric circuit. Okay. We can continue with the next class. Okay. Thank you, students.